Mahler wrote his Fifth Symphony during the summers of 1901 and 1902. He had suffered a hemorrhage very suddenly in February of 1901, after which his doctors told him that he had come within an hour of bleeding to death. So he took the summer to recuperate and to compose, studied counterpoint, but perhaps most significant of all was that he met his future wife later that same year, and the indescribably beautiful adagietto of this symphony was written as a love song to her. The Fifth Symphony is just the most recent of the many Mahler works that the Santa Cruz Symphony has performed over the past several years. We also want to show you a wonderful little moment when we had the honor of being visited by none other than Mahler's granddaughter, Marina Mahler, who is carrying on Mahler's legacy so very lovingly through the Mahler Foundation and her incredible work all around the world.
Oh, it's very exciting. It's such a wonderful piece to do. And I'm happy that you're doing it. Bill said the rehearsal was fantastic. Have a wonderful, wonderful performance. I hope one day to be in Santa Cruz. I'll be with you during the performance and thinking of you.
Thank you so much. We send you lots of love and gratitude and a big hug as well from all of us. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce you to two of our musical all-stars, principals of our brass sections, Matthew Ebisuzaki, principal trumpet, and Caitlyn Smith Franklin, our principal horn. These two musicians really represent two of the most important protagonists in this musical story.
You know, when we have a musical concept that requires 80 plus people to have the same rhythm together, if you can imagine 80 different people agreeing on one thing, it's almost impossible to fathom. But that's the beauty of music. That concept that everyone just agrees upon becomes feeling and becomes something that the audience can absorb. I remember the first time I heard that was when I was in the San Francisco Youth Orchestra. I remember sitting in the back of the orchestra, swaying, just going left and right and left and right. And
that's that.
I know. And the trumpet coach at the time goes, "Matt, you can't do that. You can't move in the orchestra." Decade or so later, I'm listening to the same piece and I'm going, I don't have anyone to do that. So in the concert, I'm swaying because at some point there's a barrier that breaks between performer and listener and audience member. And suddenly, once that barrier breaks, you're all experiencing it simultaneously.
Thinking of this middle movement, and for those of you who know the piece, you know what very symbolic function this serves after the onslaught of the first two movements, which are so full of this very difficult reckoning with grief and with pain and with all of these darker feelings of the psyche. we get to the third movement, and it's relief and it's fresh air, and this horn call comes out of the ether and is the most serenely honest, introspective moment.
The principal horn is sort of the voice in the orchestra that is guiding you through that transition across the movement. The section that you have queued up is the first time we hear this very, very ominous horn call. And one of the things I love so much about that particular excerpt is how you enter sort of out of this texture of the rest of the horn section. Everyone plays the exact same pitch literally down the row. And then the solo horn sort of just like emerges from this literal sort of sonic chaos. And there's something about that I just really, really love.
The people in Santa Cruz are so much fun. Not just the audience members, but the musicians will all go out afterwards and just have a good time. And that's what makes not just a great performance group, but a nice family.
I think one of the things that I do love the most about Santa Cruz is how the rapport between you, Danny, and the orchestra. There's just so much communication coming from you. You're always wondering if what you're doing is helpful to us, or could it be different? Could it be better? I just love how sort of you continue to push both the orchestra as well as the listening population, the audience. I think the stuff you choose has helped the orchestra gradually get better and better with each season, because you're not just programming the stuff that the orchestra is currently comfortable playing. The level, you're kind of always continually pushing the orchestra, which is one thing that I love about Santa Cruz Symphony.
We very much hope that you have enjoyed this first episode of our new digital series, and know that we will be continuing to feature our wonderful musicians, special guest artists, and very memorable programs of ours. I very much want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being part of our musical community, family. It means the world to us.